This is Melody with Folded Treasures. I'm going to teach you today how to make these beautiful paper roses. You can see them here. So most of my specialty that I make things from is hymnal papers because a lot of the churches don't use hymnals anymore. And I'm going to show you two different sizes, and this is one way that you can make roses. There are several different ways. I think these look more like real roses. And yes, I know you could probably do this with a Cricut, but since it is hymnal paper, you have to, some of them are pretty old and would tear. You could put it through a printer, but like I said, some of this is pretty old and would tear. Like this one already has a tear. So you have to be super careful with these. Some of them are pretty aged. Make sure when you're cutting that you don't show your line. You cut that off. I don't know if you can see that there where I have the line. I want to make sure that I don't have that where you can see it when I get done making the rose petals into my rose. All of this process it's a little time consuming, but to me it's worth it. Like I said, because I am using hymnal pages. So I'm just going to kind of make this a little shorter here for you. Alright, so these are the two sizes that I've been using in this wedding bouquet. So I have the big petals and I have the small petals. These make more tight little roses. And then these are going to make your like bigger, almost like they're opening roses. Alright. So sometimes I will use special glue for these. Sometimes if I'm doing a very large project like this where I need it to dry quickly, I will use hot glue because it will go faster. Alright. So I'm going to wrap this. This is going to be the base of the rose. And I'm going to wrap it so because I want it to be tight. So I kind of pre-wrap it. And then I put some glue on there. And roll it. Like that. And then a little bit of glue to close it. Alright, so that's where my beginning is. From there on, whenever I do a petal, I am going to put the hot glue, or whichever glue you're choosing, right here, and then that way I can work these petals around the edge. And I'm pretty sure I don't have any more fingerprints from all the hot glue. So, the other reason I like making these roses like this is not one looks the same. They all look different every single time. I can make 10 in a row. Every single one of them will look different, just like if it were a real rose. And once again, sometimes I have little problems getting it to fold just because it's old paper. And every time I put a petal on, I'm trying to make sure that I keep it in the same vicinity right here. Okay, so it has like the same height throughout the rows. You can see it's already starting to take shape. Looks like a little rosebud there. And you can add as many petals as you would like. Honestly, I don't make every single one the same with the same number of petals. And this is where I lose all of my fingerprints here is with this hot glue. Okay. So honestly, doing it with these smaller rose petals is actually easier. So if that's where you're looking to start, that is the best place to start. So you can kind of see the little mini rose there. So I'm going to show you also real quick, just kind of highlighting how to do with a big one. It is a lot more work to do it with the big one, but it's pretty much the same process. Okay, so I form it around, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue, and I want it to be a little bit open. I don't have it quite as tight because this is a bigger rose petal and a bigger rose. And like I said, you're going to want to kind of keep it all around the uniform side down here. All right, so it is a lot of the same, whereas like I'm putting my glue at the end here of the petal. But in the beginning, because these petals are so much bigger, you do have to kind of overlap it a little bit. Where see it's so much bigger right here, and you have to overlap it. Put a little bit of glue. And overlap this some. And this is the one of the other reasons why I will use hot glue, because I need for that to be formed fairly quickly, and that's really hard to do on any other type of glue. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm putting the glue right here at the bottom of my petal, and then I put it on there around that bottom edge and curve it in. Okay, like I said, it's a lot more difficult with the bigger rose petals, and you do have to overlay them more. Okay, so we're working on finishing up the large rose here. And as I get closer to the end, I like to get the overlaps a little bit closer, because I think it makes it look more like an actual rose. See how it's starting to really look like a rose here. I'm gonna do a couple of more petals, and you're really not set on that. You don't have to have a specific number. Make it however small, even on the big ones, however big or small you want. There's really no right or wrong. It's gonna look like a rose. and every single rose is different, so. And if you make a mistake, as long as you get it set before the hot glue dries, you're fine. Because for the most part, if you're putting these roses like in a bouquet or on display, and most of the time this will not be showing, which is why I put these on the stick. You could use floral wire, you could get the green floral tape and tape it to make it look more like a stem. There's really any way that you can do that. So I think I'm going to put 1 or 2 more rose petals on this one. Generally, when I do the big ones, I do like to make it quite large. And so there you have your rose here. And I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about maybe one more just right here. And these are very much like rose petals, where they're very delicate. Have to be careful, that sort of thing. And then this is our little mini, smaller rose. Okay. This is my almost finished wedding bouquet. I still have a few more that I want to add, and then I even did a few in colors, like with a color. And all of these that are this color are all hymnal pages, which is what makes them so unique and for a very special day. And I'm obviously going to make probably a few more of these pink, just plain paper ones to go in just sporadically throughout the wedding bouquet. And you can make however many roses you want. Just have fun with it and make a bunch. You can make anything with roses. So there you go.